Music is a powerful tool for conveying information in lieu of visuals. In games, a great example of this is threat music, music that establishes danger or signifies a transition from a safe situation to a violent one. Threat music is a common part of soundtracks to 3D games. Some examples include Final Fantasy XV,
Big enough for you?
and The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Threat music is also common in tactical stealth games and gives that musical oomph which conveys tension and the seriousness of the threat of being spotted. A commonality in these games, though, is that the music follows the gameplay and is more of an ancillary element. The music provides context and reinforces the setting, but is ultimately a separate layer painted on after all of the visual and other auditory cues are there. For example, in Metal Gear Solid 5, it helps to know you're in danger if the music starts to pick up and becomes more intense, but you immediately already know this because of the tracked enemy movements, subtle visual cues, and even dialogue from enemies. Another peculiarity about this model, which is more so in non-stealth games, is that the same music plays at the same intensity regardless of the level of danger, whether there's a whole bunch of dark nuts or a single keys, for example. Rain World is a game that features threat music that addresses some of these issues. This survival platformer game was developed by the indie group Video Cult and published in 2017. It has you play as a small, hapless thing called a Slugcat who meanders a ruined world and tries to survive despite its cruelties. The game is mostly silent, save for a few scripted musical numbers, and more importantly, the threat music that plays when a predator takes interest in you. This music is not a simple transitionary piece or a single track, though. Rather, it is layered and adaptive, changing with the level of present danger. Let's say you enter a room with one of these disco lizards in it, so we get this light percussion that identifies an enemy is nearby. He doesn't seem too interested or doesn't notice us yet, so music stays at this volume. If we fast forward a bit, you see I've caught the attention of at least one of them, and there's another guy here, and they're kind of fiddling about with each other. So the music picks up a bit. We get another percussive layer. And oh boy, this guy comes down here. Although he doesn't seem to have noticed us. He's going after those lizards down here, joining this kind of fight. So music hasn't picked up yet. But then when we try to catch his attention and kind of make him angry, you can hear there's this other melodic layer that's been added on. So as the danger escalates, calculated by some unknown equation of enemy interest, hunger, and mobility, the music escalates with it. In Rain World, you have little visual information about the behavior and danger of an enemy. A lizard may be nearby, but maybe it's not hungry or already has prey. Or whatever this thing is, maybe a screen away and you don't know it yet. Because the music coincides with danger so closely, it can be used to gauge the player's safety in these ambiguous situations. The danger music plays alerting you to a predator's presence, even though they cannot be seen. This is really useful, especially when dealing with camouflaged white lizards, and pole plants. Conversely, when running away from danger, the music will persist if the enemy is pursuing you. But if music subsides, you know that they have lost interest. Or if one or two voices fade away, you know you are safe for the moment, but danger is still nearby. In these scenarios, the music isn't an extra layer painted on top of the gameplay, but is integrated with it as a core element that the player needs to gauge their safety. Yet it doesn't tell you everything, like where enemies are or how they will precisely react. And that is what is most interesting about this musical system, that it is imperfect. Sometimes the additional musical layers come in too late or don't precisely represent the amount of danger. And for some areas, threat music is entirely absent, producing this tense and uncertain mood where the player isn't sure if the predators will give chase or stay put. These examples exemplify the game's natural world, whose rules and governing systems are statistical rather than programmatic. The enemy AI, physics, and even the animation are part of a higher system with randomness and unpredictability built into its core. The threat music is no exception, and its inconsistency underscores this approach. This world of violent rain and cruel predators was not made for this Slugcat, and even the helpful elements like the music are part of a higher order of things that it cannot understand.